Democrat Mayor Michelle Wu is under fire for an email which was mistakenly sent out by her staffer to all 13 members of City Council, which included all 7 white members, but it was intended for non-whites, about an electeds of color holiday party. So she is receiving a lot of backlash on this. This is segregation right here going on today in America. Let's check it out. She doesn't seem very apologetic for it either.
Mayor Michelle Wu admits that a mistake was made in an invitation to a holiday party. Members of the Boston City Council received an email invitation to what's called a gathering of electeds of color. Not all members of the council fit that description.
I think we've had individual conversations with everyone so people understand that it was truly just an honest mistake that went out in typing the email field, and I look forward to celebrating with everyone at the holiday parties that we will have besides this one as well. So it is my intention that we can again be a city that lives our values and create space for all kinds of communities to come together.
The mayor apologizing for any confusion at the
All right, so she wants to continue to be a city that creates space for all kinds of, whatever she says, all kinds of backgrounds. Everybody have a safe space, meaning that she wants to continue to do things like this. And then before that, she says she looks forward to the parties that they'll have besides that one, meaning she is going to still have it, which she already did have the party. So she's not sorry for that. She's sorry she got caught. And yes, I read that this has been going on for. Oh, there's a picture right there of the holiday party. But apparently this has been going on for 10 years. But we'll get to that in a second. I find it funny that these woke women like her are always married to white men, or with it seems like it. They're always dating or they're married to white men. AOC is one of them. The Democrat mayor of Boston, who had this non-white party, is married to a white man. So her own husband was not invited to the party. And I just find it funny that these people are always married to white men. These anti-white people, at least they come across that way. Very woke people. So I'm married to a white woman, and if I had this kind of party, my wife would not be invited. Or if my wife had an all-white party, I would not be invited. So this is from one of her council members. Apparently this has been going on for 10 years. He says, never let facts get in the way of some manufactured outrage. Electeds of color has existed for over a decade, and the holiday party is an annual tradition. Wait until someone tells them about the Congressional Black Caucus or Massachusetts Black and Latino Legislative Caucus. The horror. I mean, but look, the comments he got lit up. So you're saying that segregation is a tradition that must be preserved. Can we have a white center holiday party? What would you say about that? Now you're okay with annual traditions. Racism is wrong. It may not only necessarily be illegal in this particular case, but it's wrong nonetheless. But do go on defending it. Yes, of course, he's getting a ton of backlash for this. This is segregation. It doesn't matter if it's been going on for 10 years. It's wrong. Look at this. You're not interested in equality, inclusion, and diversity. You want retribution, retaliation, and division. That's right. These people want division. They always talk about how inclusive they are, but then, except when it comes to conservatives, anything like that, Trump supporters, they're not very inclusive. But let's check out some video from Jesse Waters. This is a great video right here. It's about 5 minutes long, and the mayor actually got confronted by somebody about this. Check it out.
Tomorrow's the 250th anniversary of the Boston Tea Party. Remember when we dressed up as Indians and tossed loads of British tea into the Boston Harbor? Well, that kind of act of protest kicked off a revolution, and now, 250 years later, the new mayor of Boston has a different kind of revolution on her hands. Michelle Wu is in the middle of a racial revolution after she held a segregated Christmas party and didn't invite the whites. Actually, she invited them and then uninvited them and then told the media she wasn't sorry. Primetime thinks holding separate but equal Christmas parties isn't very inclusive. But what about the people of Boston? Are the Bostonians not as wooed as we are?
Kind of seems like in the opposite direction we're trying to get as a society.
I think it's racist at its core. It's dead wrong and it sets the wrong example. If you're preaching inclusivity, diversity, and then to go ahead and have a party, exclude a certain class or group of people, it's just wrong.
Do you think she broke the law?
I think she's a hypocrite.
So Wu said she did nothing wrong. She was only creating spaces for people who share similar interests. That similarity not being white. But little did Wu know she broke the law. Massachusetts prohibits, quote, making any distinction or restriction at admission to or treatment in a place of public accommodation based on race. Uh-oh. Doesn't look good for Wu. And Primetime needed to remind her that she could be in trouble.
Mayor Wu, can I ask you a couple questions?
Can we?
What do you say to people who think you broke the public accommodations law in Massachusetts?
We did not break any public accommodations law.
Do you think that there should be segregated holiday parties in Massachusetts? Will you be holding a segregated party for white people in Massachusetts for elected officials?
No, she will not be holding a segregated white party in Boston. She won't be.
You're celebrating the Sons of Liberty. Would they be invited to this party? Whose idea was the party, Mayor Wu? Whose idea was it? Should it be investigated?
Maybe Mayor Wu will have a change of heart next holiday season, like the Grinch. Maybe Wu's heart will grow 3 times the size. Maybe whites will be included in next year's Christmas party. That is, if she's still mayor. Grace Curley is the host of The Grace Curley Show on WRKO, and she confronted Mayor Wu this morning. Grace, if it's such a good thing to have an anti-white Christmas party, why won't the mayor say whose idea it was?
That's a really great point, Jesse. And why was everyone who was going to this party covering their faces from the paparazzi that were interested in it? I mean, this is what you get. It's the political progressive movement in a nutshell. They want to lecture us, these elected officials, with these big educations on what it means to be tolerant, what it means to be diverse, what it means to be inclusive. And what's the product of this woke utopia? Segregated Christmas parties? I mean, if you flip this, Jesse, and you had a white mayor who said, I want to invite all the white elected officials to a party at the Parkman House and not invite anyone else, there would be outrage, and rightfully so, because most people know that it's the wrong thing to do. You
Major outrage if that happened.
don't exclude people based off the color of their skin. It's so basic, and yet these woke politicians don't understand it.
Did she look nervous? Because she looks nervous on camera.
Yes, she did. I should say that I don't think she has a lot of reason to be nervous. There's not a lot of journalists in these parts that are asking these questions. I was totally alone. It wasn't like a gaggle of people, hounding her for answers. It was just me. So she knew she just had to get into the Tea Party, and then she would get out of the way.
Well, Grace, what about the 7 whites? We call them the uninvited whites. Are they upset at all, or do they just not really feel like going to additional Christmas party?
I think that from what I've heard from the councilmen and women, that they're happy not to go to the Christmas parties. They're not easily offended, but I just don't think it sets the right tone, especially with all the division you're seeing. And on a serious note, Jesse, as someone from Massachusetts and someone who has so much pride in the city of Boston, and there's such a rich history here, there's so much to be proud of. The last couple of weeks and the last few spectacles between the president of Harvard at those congressional hearings and now Mayor Wu, it's doing us a huge disservice. And if this is what all of this elite education is creating, it's not good.
Yeah, I mean, not to mention the Patriots. I didn't want to have to go there, but I mean, you guys are really not having a great run. Grace, I'm sorry.
I would be offended if my mom invited me to a people of color's people of color party. I'll be like, wait a minute, my wife is white. She can't come? I mean, this is just crazy. Boston, I don't know. Look, Massachusetts is very liberal. Boston is obviously a liberal city. They voted for this nonsense. And not that long ago, the mayor, this was last year, the mayor was on a live stream or something on Instagram. She went live, and then there was a ton of comments in there saying that she's you know, bringing segregation back because of her vaccine mandates. She's a tyrant. She's ruining the city. Hopefully, the people learn their lesson, which I don't know. A lot of people don't seem to learn their lessons when things happen like this. Is she going to be removed? I don't know. We'll see what happens going forward. If she broke the law, state law, or will she be voted out? But they'll just replace with another Democrat. These people never learn. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know majority of people who will watch this video will likely disagree with this kind of stuff because it is wrong. We should not have segregation in America. They want to talk about being inclusive and all this diversity nonsense, but they don't want white people involved in their parties. How is that okay? You want to be inclusive only if it's something you agree with. If you had a bunch of Trump supporters wanting to come to your party, or if you had a Trump supporter on your in your council in the city council, you would likely find a way to exclude them from the party. You would say, "Sorry, no Trump supporters allowed, no maggots allowed." I mean, or they're only inclusive if it's something they want. Is what I'm trying to say. But because it's this is all people of colors party. Sorry, white people not allowed. It's just not okay. It doesn't set the right tone. It's not what we should be doing in America. This is a great country, and we've come too far to have this not to bring segregation back. And we're seeing it at the university level as well. We're seeing colleges or universities have segregated graduations. This is how you bring wokeism across America. This is how you bring wokeism into universities and out into the workforce and in your cities by doing things like this instead of bringing everybody together so we can all find a way to find some common ground, which is how it should be. We can have our differences, we can set them aside and come together for one common celebration or one common goal. Like Democrats and Republicans, at least I feel like back in the day, had different ways of wanting to achieve a certain goal for America, but at the same time, they wanted to get there. Whether if it was a different path, they both loved America. But now it seems like we're on totally different ends of the spectrum, unfortunately. But hopefully, we'll come back to a more united America instead of being so divided like we are now. And Democrats are not helping at all by doing stuff like this. But all right, guys, I'm going to leave it right there. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Take care.